You're listening to
SimNation
Radio.
The SimNation Morning Radio. The SimNation Morning Radio.
Good morning, SimNation. I'm Theo Plumb.
And I'm Maisie Vox.
Welcome to the SimNation Morning Radio, our weekly Sunday journey through the neighborhoods, stories, and unusually complicated family trees of SimNation. This morning, we're broadcasting live from Pleasantview,
A peaceful suburban community where the lawns are green, the houses are beautiful, and nobody has ever done anything suspicious near a telescope.
Throughout this morning's show, we'll be bringing you Pleasantview weather, local news, music, and a conversation with Cassandra Goth,
who is preparing to marry Don Lothario, Pleasantview's leading supplier of concerned friends.
We'll also be looking into the disappearance of Bella Goth,
and investigating why every person in town becomes extremely interested in their shoes when you mention her name.
But first, music.
This one is for everyone waking up beside someone whose surname they really should remember by now.
Maisie.
What? Sunday is a day for reflection.
Let's start the morning by raising the energy and listening to an EDM mix of Buy Mode No. 1 by one and only CaravelMusic. That was CaravelMusic with an EDM remix of Buy Mode No. 1.
The perfect soundtrack for spending 40 minutes choosing a sofa, then discovering you can only afford a lamp.
A familiar financial experience across SimNation.
The lamp does look fantastic, though.
It is now 9 minutes past the hour. Let's take a look at the weather here in Pleasantview.
It's the weather news.
Today will be warm and mostly sunny, with a gentle breeze coming in from the water. Excellent weather for gardening, visiting Woodland Park, or standing beside your mailbox while pretending not to watch the neighbors.
Tonight will be clear, with ideal visibility for stargazing.
Residents are reminded to use telescopes responsibly.
Meaning, look up.
Correct.
Not directly through the window at 170 Main Street.
Very specifically correct.
Tomorrow should remain bright, although we're tracking a cold front currently developing inside the Pleasant residence.
That is not meteorological information.
There's a 100% chance of somebody sleeping on the sofa.
Moving on to the Pleasantview Morning News.
The SimNation News.
Preparations appear to be underway at 165 Sim Lane as Cassandra Goth approaches her wedding to local bachelor Don Lothario.
The ceremony has everything: a beautiful bride, a historic family estate, and a groom experiencing what experts call visible hesitation.
No official wedding date has been announced.
Don has reportedly requested something traditional, intimate, and located near an unlocked exit.
That report came from you.
I'm close to the investigation.
Elsewhere, residents near Woodland Drive have reported unusually loud music coming from the Broke residence.
Sources confirm it was Dustin Broke.
Dustin is a teenager. Loud music is not currently a criminal offense.
Then why did my mother keep calling the police?
And finally, Pleasantview Pool Services has issued its weekly safety reminder. Before entering any swimming pool, residents should confirm that a ladder is present and securely installed.
Also confirm that nobody nearby has recently increased your life insurance.
That concludes the news.
We didn't even mention the Caliente sisters.
We have an entire morning ahead of us.
Good. I brought diagrams.
After our next song, we'll take our first commercial break. Then Cassandra Goth joins us in the studio to discuss her upcoming wedding, life at the Goth estate, and the question Pleasantview has never stopped asking.
Where is Bella Goth?
But first, another record.
This one goes out to anyone who has ever spent their entire household budget on a hot tub and then acted surprised when the refrigerator was empty.
You're listening to the SimNation Morning Radio.
That was a lovely song.
You don't remember its title, do you?
Of course I do.
What was it?
That lovely song by the artist who recorded it.
A compelling argument for giving me control of the playlist.
You played 3 minutes of classical piano while we were parking the van.
It helped me concentrate.
You reversed into a shrub.
The shrub approached from a difficult angle.
Speaking of difficult angles, Cassandra Goth will be joining us after the break.
We'll discuss her approaching wedding to Don Lothario, growing up in Pleasantview's most famous family, and life without her mother, Bella.
We also invited Don.
He said he was busy.
Then he said he was free.
Then busy again.
Then he asked which one of us was calling.
So, no, Don will not be joining us at this time.
But Cassandra will, right after these messages from the businesses keeping Pleasantview employed, fed, and inadequately insured.
You're listening to the SimNation Morning Radio.
Please remain exactly where you are.
Unless you're driving.
Then remain generally where the road is.
Summer is here, and that means family, sunshine, and preventable tragedy. At LadderGuard Pool Services, we install pool ladders that stay installed. Our patented ladder lock technology protects your family from accidental removal, suspicious removal, and relatives who suddenly become interested in inheritance law.
Since choosing LadderGuard, all 3 of my husbands have survived the summer.
That is an industry record. LadderGuard Pool Services, because getting into the pool should not be a lifetime commitment.
LadderGuard is not responsible for electrocution, exhaustion, spontaneous combustion, or decisions made by an unseen controlling force.
Are your romantic relationships becoming difficult to manage? Introducing Lothario Confidential, SimNation's discreet romantic scheduling service. Our patented lover tracker keeps names, anniversaries, and apartment numbers organized, while our door check system warns you when 2 romantic partners are approaching the same lot.
Before Lothario Confidential, I was constantly being slapped in public.
And now,
I'm slapped privately.
progress. Lothario Confidential. Because commitment is complicated, but calendars don't have to be.
Welcome back to Pleasantview.
Our next guest comes from a respected local family, lives in a mansion, and is engaged to the town's most thoroughly inspected bachelor.
Maisie.
I wrote eligible, but I no longer stand by it.
Cassandra Goth joins us next. But first, let's listen to First Volley by CaravelMusic. Welcome back. We are broadcasting live from Pleasantview, where the sun is shining and LadderGuard Pool Services has asked us to stop mentioning its ongoing investigations.
They also sent us a complimentary ladder.
What are we supposed to do with it?
Survive, apparently.
Our next guest lives at 165 Sim Lane with her father Mortimer and younger brother Alexander. She is preparing to marry Don Lothario while living with one of SimNation's greatest unanswered mysteries.
Please welcome Cassandra Goth. Good morning.
Thank you for joining us, Cassandra.
Thank you for inviting me. I have never been inside a radio van before. Neither have we. Theo bought it from a man behind the grocery store.
It is a certified broadcast vehicle.
The certification says, "Best wishes, Gary."
Let's begin with your wedding. How are the preparations going?
Slowly. My father would prefer a traditional ceremony at the estate. Don prefers something smaller. How much smaller? He suggested only inviting people who could not identify him in a police lineup.
He was joking, presumably.
Presumably. Have you chosen a dress? Yes, something simple and traditional. I would rather not make the ceremony into a spectacle. You are marrying Don Lothario in Pleasantview. The spectacle has already ordered catering.
Maisie.
No, she has a point.
Don has acquired something of a reputation around town. Does that concern you?
Of course it does. But Pleasantview also has a reputation for turning suspicions into facts before breakfast. We usually wait until after the weather. Don can be charming and thoughtful. When we are alone, I see a side of him that other people may not. Statistically, several people may be seeing that side.
What Maisie is delicately trying to ask
I wasn't.
is whether you trust him.
I want to.
That is not quite the same thing.
No, it isn't. Have you considered following him?
This is not relationship advice.
Fine. Have you considered hiring someone else to follow him? I think that if I need to investigate the man I intend to marry, I may already have my answer. Cassandra, you are far too emotionally intelligent for this town.
Your mother's absence must make preparing for the wedding especially difficult.
It does. There are things I want to ask her. Small things, mostly. Which flowers she chose. Whether she was nervous. How she knew she was ready. People expect grief to be about important moments. But sometimes I miss her most when I find one of her old gloves, or hear someone laughing in another room.
Do you believe Bella is still alive?
Yes.
Why?
Because I have never felt that she left us willingly. People say she was last seen at Don's home. People say many things. Have you asked him about it? Yes.
What did he tell you?
That my mother visited him. They spoke. She went onto the terrace, and after that, he says he doesn't know. And do you believe him? I believe he is frightened of that question.
That isn't necessarily an answer.
No. But in this family, we have learned to make do with what people leave unsaid.
How are Mortimer and Alexander coping?
Alexander was very young when Mother disappeared. He remembers pieces of her. Her perfume. Her voice. A bedtime story she used to read. Father keeps himself occupied with his work. He has always believed every mystery can be solved if you study it long enough. Has he been spending time with Nina Caliente?
Subtle.
Yes, he has. And how do you feel about that? Dina makes him happy. That sounded painfully diplomatic. I'm a goth. We're trained from birth.
Do you trust her?
I think Dina knows precisely what she wants. Which is? You would have to ask Dina. Oh, I plan to.
Before we let you go, Cassandra, what do you wish people understood about the Goth family?
That we are a family, not a mystery. My father is not merely an elderly millionaire. Alexander is not an odd little boy in a large house. My mother is not a piece of neighborhood gossip. And I am not simply the woman Don Lothario may or may not marry. What should people know you as? I'm still working that out.
Cassandra Goth, thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you. And Cassandra? Yes? If Don runs from the altar, I have access to a van. I'll keep that in mind. I like her.
So do I.
We should protect her.
We are radio presenters, Maisie.
We have a van and one complimentary ladder. That is how organizations begin.
Coming up, more Pleasantview music, local news, and a troubling number of romantic connections involving the same four people.
But first, this next song is dedicated to Cassandra Goth.
For anyone standing at the beginning of a new life while still waiting for answers from the old one.
And for anyone whose fiancé says, she's just a friend, more than twice in one conversation.
You're listening to the SimNation Morning Radio. Welcome back to Pleasantview. I'm Theo Plumb.
And I'm Maisie Box. Cassandra Goth has left the van safely.
Why wouldn't she leave safely?
I saw Don's car circle the block twice.
That brings us neatly, and somewhat alarmingly, to the morning traffic report.
The traffic report!
Traffic remains light throughout Pleasantview. Main Street is moving normally, with a slight delay outside the grocery store. An unattended shopping cart has entered the road and appears unwilling to compromise. Drivers near Sim Lane should expect congestion around the Goth estate. Several residents have slowed down to inspect the wedding preparations. Over on Woodland Drive, motorists should watch for pedestrians, children, and Dustin Broke leaving home very quickly whenever his mother asks where he has been. And near the Pleasant residence, one vehicle has been parked outside for 20 minutes with its lights off. Do we know who owns it?
And now, a few local notices. Pleasantview authorities are asking residents to stop reporting unidentified lights in the sky unless those lights move against the wind, emit an unusual beam, or remove someone from the neighborhood.
So, regular abductions only, no time wasters.
The Pleasantview Historical Society is also seeking volunteers to catalog objects recovered from several older properties.
They're especially interested in mysterious urns, unfinished portraits, and diaries that end halfway through a sentence.
Finally, the Community Center's relationship seminar has been postponed.
The instructor's wife met his girlfriend.
That information was not included in the official notice.
It was included in the parking lot.
We appear to have a caller.
If this is LadderGuard again, our legal department is a cardboard box under the desk.
Good morning. You're live on the SimNation Morning Radio.
Theo, Maisie, good morning.
Don Lothario.
You sound disappointed.
I had Nina Caliente in the office pool.
Don, what can we do for you?
I heard part of your interview with Cassandra.
Which part? The wedding, Bella, or the part where she quietly destroyed your entire public image?
I wanted to clarify a few things.
We would be happy to give you that opportunity.
I wouldn't say happy. Fascinated, certainly.
Cassandra means a great deal to me.
How much is a great deal? Give us a number.
Relationships cannot be reduced to numbers.
That has not stopped you before.
Maisie?
Is this an interview or an ambush?
An interview requires an appointment.
Don, would you be willing to join us properly after the next song?
In the van?
Don't sound so excited.
All right, I'm nearby.
We know. Turn your headlights on.
I'll see you shortly.
Well, Don Lothario will be joining us next.
Quick question. Does our insurance cover romantic fallout?
It barely covers the van.
Then let's play something expensive before we lose everything.
This next track is for anyone who has ever said, "I can explain," before knowing what the explanation would be.
Don, turn up the radio. You may need the extra time.
You're listening to the SimNation Morning Radio, live from Pleasantview. Welcome back. Don Lothario has joined us in the van.
Good morning, SimNation.
For transparency, Don kissed my hand when he arrived.
I was being polite.
Then he kissed Theo's.
I believe he panicked.
I believe in consistency.
Don, you called because you wanted to respond to our interview with Cassandra.
Yes. Cassandra is thoughtful, intelligent, and very important to me. I don't want your listeners thinking I'm not committed to her.
Are you?
Am I what?
Committed.
Emotionally?
Let's begin anywhere.
I intend to marry Cassandra.
That was not the question.
It was near the question.
Don, how many women are you currently romantically involved with?
That feels unnecessarily numerical.
More or fewer than the number of seats in this van?
What qualifies as involved?
Theo, open the dictionary.
Cassandra mentioned that you become uncomfortable when Bella Goth's disappearance is discussed.
A woman vanished after visiting my home. Wouldn't that make anyone uncomfortable?
Tell us what happened that evening.
Well, Bella came over. We talked. She was curious about my telescope, so she went onto the terrace.
What did you talk about?
Life, marriage, Pleasantview, the stars.
Her marriage or yours?
I wasn't engaged then.
That removes one concern and introduces several others.
Bella was restless. She spoke as if she felt trapped by the life everyone expected her to have.
Did she say she planned to leave?
No, at least not in those words.
What happened after she went onto the terrace?
I stepped inside.
Why?
To get us drinks.
Of course.
When I returned, she was gone.
Did you see anything unusual?
There was a bright light.
A bright light?
In the sky. It lasted only a few seconds. When it disappeared, so had Bella.
Why haven't you spoken publicly about this before?
Listen to how it sounds.
In this town, it barely makes the top 5.
Did you tell Mortimer?
Eventually.
And Cassandra?
Yes.
Before or after proposing to her?
After.
Excellent order of operations.
Do you feel responsible for Bella's disappearance?
I feel responsible for inviting her over. I wonder whether things would be different if I had stayed outside. But I did not hurt Bella.
Do you know anything about the Caliente sisters' arrival in Pleasantview?
No.
That answer came quickly.
Because it is simple.
Are you romantically involved with Nina Caliente?
Nina and I are close.
Geographically?
Emotionally.
Anatomically?
Maisie.
Nina and I have history.
And Dina?
Dina is a friend.
Whom you find attractive.
I find many people attractive. It is one of my most inclusive qualities.
What about Kaylin Langerak?
She has done some cleaning for me.
Did she clean your bedroom?
Presumably. It is part of the house.
Were you in it?
This is becoming intrusive.
Don, these questions matter because Cassandra is preparing to marry you.
I know.
Does she know everything?
She knows enough to decide whether she believes in me.
That sounds like a no wearing expensive cologne.
I'm not perfect.
Nobody asked for perfect. We're currently trying to establish faithful.
I care about Cassandra. When I'm with her, I want to be better.
What happens when you're not with her?
That is where things become complicated.
No, Don. That's where Nina becomes involved.
I came here to explain myself.
How do you think that's going?
I preferred the songs.
One final question. If Cassandra were listening now, what would you say to her?
I would tell her that she deserves certainty. I know I haven't always given her that. But when I imagine losing her, it doesn't feel like losing another relationship. It feels like losing the chance to become someone better.
That was almost beautiful.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, Nina is calling line 2.
I should leave.
You have nowhere else to be for another 10 minutes.
I suddenly remembered that I do.
Is it Nina?
Goodbye, SimNation.
Don Lothario, everyone.
He left his sunglasses.
You can return them.
No.
Coming up, we'll answer that call and hear from Nina Caliente.
But first, music for anyone who has ever realized the person being interviewed is somehow creating more questions than answers.
You're listening to the SimNation Morning Radio,
where commitment is temporary, but the broadcast record is permanent.
Welcome back. Don Lothario has left the van.
Physically, yes. His cologne has signed a 12-month lease.
Before the song, we received a call from Nina Caliente.
Don fled before we could answer it.
Those two events may be related.
Everything in Pleasantview is related, usually romantically.
Nina, are you still with us?
I am. Good morning.
Good morning! Don isn't here.
I know. I just watched him run across Main Street.
Did he know you were calling?
He does now.
How would you describe that run?
Fast, guilty, surprisingly athletic.
Nina, you heard our interview?
Most of it.
Don described the two of you as having history.
That's one word for it.
What word would you use?
Ongoing.
Don is engaged to Cassandra Goth.
I'm aware.
Does Cassandra know that your history is written in the present tense?
You would need to ask Don.
We did. He escaped through the passenger door.
That sounds like Don.
Are you in love with him?
That's a very serious question for Sunday morning.
We occasionally ask those.
Don and I understand each other. Neither of us expects the other to become something they're not.
Cassandra appears to expect him to become a husband.
Then Cassandra and I have different expectations.
Do you feel guilty?
Don is responsible for the promises Don makes. I never asked him to propose to Cassandra.
But you haven't exactly asked him to stop seeing you.
Would he stop if I did?
That doesn't answer the moral question.
No, it answers the practical one.
I respect the efficiency, if not the architecture.
Your sister Dina also knows Don.
Dina knows everyone worth knowing.
Biblically?
Maisie.
Not Don. As far as I know.
As far as I know is Pleasantview's official legal disclaimer.
Dina has recently grown close to Mortimer Goth. What does she want from him?
Maybe she likes him.
And maybe I bought this microphone for its personality.
Dina enjoys stability.
Mortimer is wealthy.
That is a very stable condition.
Unless he shops in buy mode.
Did either of you know Bella Goth before she disappeared?
Not personally.
Don said everyone knew of Bella.
He's right. She was famous around here.
You and Dina arrived around the same time she vanished.
People move, Maisie.
And people disappear.
Are you accusing us of something?
No, we're asking about a coincidence that Pleasantview has never stopped discussing.
Then discuss it with someone who was here.
Don was here.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Is that all?
One final question. If Cassandra asked you directly whether you were still seeing Don, what would you tell her?
I'd tell her to ask the man she plans to marry.
Would you tell her the truth?
I just did.
Well?
That was Nina Caliente.
She answered none of our questions and somehow left Don looking even worse.
An impressive performance.
I need a whiteboard, red string, and several photographs.
We're running a radio program, not an investigation.
Then why does the van have surveillance equipment?
That is the coffee machine.
The coffee machine just photographed Dina's house.
After the break, we'll hear from Pleasantview's sponsors and return with the morning news.
Including an update from the Pleasant household, where the family name continues to face allegations of false advertising.
But first, another song.
This one is for anyone who has ever been called history by someone they met last night.
You're listening to the SimNation Morning Radio,
where the music is faithful, even when the listeners aren't.
Welcome back to the SimNation Morning Radio. The sun is climbing over Pleasantview, which means our first Sunday broadcast is nearly over.
And somehow, Don Lothario has already driven past the van with 2 different passengers.
It was the same car?
Different car.
Of course.
Before we leave, Theo, have we solved the disappearance of Bella Goth?
Not exactly.
Did we uncover any useful evidence?
Not exactly.
Did we damage several relationships?
Potentially.
Then this has been an extremely successful morning.
Here is what we do know. Bella Goth visited Don Lothario before she disappeared. Don says she went onto his terrace to use the telescope. He remembers a bright light in the sky, and when he returned, Bella was gone.
The Caliente sisters arrived in Pleasantview around the same period.
Dina has since grown close to Bella's husband, Mortimer.
And Nina just suggested we should be asking Don more questions.
So what really happened? Was Bella abducted while looking through Don's telescope?
Did she uncover something someone wanted kept secret?
Did she choose to leave Pleasantview?
Or is Don lying through teeth so white they can probably be seen from space?
We want to hear your theory.
Let us know in the comments what you think really happened to Bella Goth. Serious theories, strange theories, alien theories.
Evidence-based theories would be appreciated.
Theo, this is Pleasantview. The evidence is a telescope, a vanished socialite, and a man who escaped our interview through the passenger door.
Fair point. If you enjoyed traveling through Pleasantview with us, please support the show by liking this episode and subscribing to the CaravelMusic YouTube channel.
It helps keep this van on the road, the microphone switched on, and Theo supplied with ties nobody can see.
You can also become a channel member to support future episodes.
Members will receive a shout-out in our next broadcast.
Within reason.
Become a member named Don Lothario's other girlfriend. Test him.
Please don't encourage this.
Please do.
Thank you to Cassandra Goth, Don Lothario, and Nina Caliente for joining us.
And thank you to Pleasantview for giving us a warm welcome, several legal threats, and 1 complimentary pool ladder.
Next Sunday, the SimNation Morning Radio van will be back on the road with more music, more local stories, and another look inside the neighborhoods of SimNation.
Subscribe so you don't wake up next Sunday and discover we've left town without you.
I'm Theo Plumb.
And I'm Maisie Vox.
Take care of yourselves and one another.
Keep your pool ladders attached.
Keep your telescope pointed upward.
And if Don Lothario says you're the only one,
Maisie,
check the driveway.
We'll see you next Sunday.
Sul.
We'll leave you with one final song.
This one is for Bella Goth, wherever in SimNation or beyond it she may be.
Until next Sunday.